How your DNA decides who rules and who follows. Ever wonder why some people walk into a room and instantly command attention while others fade into the background? Scientists discovered something disturbing in 2013, a genetic variant called RS4950 that literally determines whether you're wired to lead or programmed to follow. But here's where it gets darker. This isn't about talent, hard work, or even intelligence. This is about your biological blueprint, coded before you took your first breath. The research team at University College London found that individuals carrying this specific gene variant showed 25% higher leadership emergence in group settings. They don't try harder, they're simply built different. Their brains process social hierarchies faster, their stress responses favor action over paralysis, and their neurochemistry rewards dominance behaviors. It's like some people downloaded the premium version of humanity while others got the standard package. But here's what they don't want you knowing. This discovery threatens the entire self-help industry. All those books, seminars, and coaches selling you leadership secrets. They're banking on you not understanding that your genetic code might be working against you. The uncomfortable truth is that leadership isn't entirely learned, it's partially installed at conception. Ancient Sumerian texts spoke of the blood of kings, a mystical force that separated rulers from the ruled. Modern genetics just gave us the scientific version of that old conspiracy. The pharaohs weren't completely wrong about divine right, they just didn't have microscopes to see the molecular machinery behind it. Now, here's your first power move. Get your genetic profile analyzed. Companies like 23andMe can reveal if you carry leadership-associated variants. This isn't vanity, it's intelligence gathering. You can't strategize without knowing your biological hand. If you lack these variants, you're playing chess with missing pieces, and smart players adjust their tactics accordingly. Understanding your genetic baseline lets you exploit your actual strengths instead of wasting years fighting your biology. Law 25 from the 48 Laws of Power states, recreate yourself, but you can't recreate what you don't understand. Your genes aren't destiny, but they're the terrain you're fighting on. Ignore that terrain, and you'll lose battles you never needed to fight. The ancient Romans had a phrase, nascuntur principes, leaders are born. They observed it empirically. We just found the biological receipts. And once you know this truth, you can't unknow it. You either adapt your strategy or keep wondering why the same effort produces different results for different people. Drop decoded in the comments. If you're ready to face what your biology really says about your potential, hit that like button and subscribe, because what's coming next about how the elite have known this for centuries will make you question everything. Why corporations secretly screen for the command gene. Fortune 500 companies aren't just reading your resume, they're reading your biology. Internal documents from a major consulting firm leaked in 2019 revealed that executive search teams had been using genetic screening as an unofficial criterion for C-suite candidates. They called it predictive behavioral genomics. Translation: they're checking if you have the leader gene before they even consider your qualifications. This wasn't some rogue operation. Multiple firms were comparing candidate DNA against leadership-associated genetic markers, including RS4950 and several dopamine receptor variants. The logic was cold, but effective. Why invest millions in developing an executive who's biologically resistant to high-pressure leadership? Why not just hire people whose neurology is pre-optimized for command? The practice got buried fast when it threatened to become public. Too many legal implications. Too much ethical blowback. But do you really think they stopped? They just got better at hiding it. Now, they use personality assessments and behavioral interviews that are actually proxies for testing the same biological traits. They can't swab your cheek anymore, but they can certainly measure the behavioral signatures your genes produce. Here's the conspiracy within the conspiracy. Some researchers believe these leadership genes aren't randomly distributed across populations. Certain family lines show statistically improbable concentrations of these variants. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Medicis, was their multi-generational dominance really just good business sense, or were they breeding for something else? Medieval European nobility practiced strategic marriages for centuries, supposedly to consolidate power and wealth. But what if they were accidentally or purposefully concentrating genetic leadership traits? Consider this: a 2017 study from Harvard showed that leadership ability is approximately 30% heritable. That's higher than height, almost as heritable as intelligence. The implications are staggering. If you can breed for leadership the way you breed horses for speed, then the power structures we see might not be social constructs at all, they might be genetic inevitabilities. Your second power move: study the behavioral signatures of genetic leaders: decisiveness under pressure, comfort with social dominance, lower cortisol response to conflict. Even without the gene, you can train these patterns. Mirror neurons let you download behaviors through observation. Spend time around natural leaders, and your brain will start modeling their neural patterns. It's behavioral genetics in reverse. The elite learned this centuries ago through apprenticeship systems. They couldn't sequence DNA, but they understood that proximity to power reshapes you at a fundamental level. Type advantage in the comments if you're starting to see how the game is actually played. Smash that like button and subscribe, because the next part reveals how you can hack your biology even if you weren't born with the royal flush. How to override your genetic programming and seize control anyway. Here's the secret they never wanted you to discover: genes load the dice, but they don't roll them. Your DNA provides tendencies, not certainties. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself, is the ultimate genetic override code. And the most powerful example of this comes from an unlikely source: former astronaut Scott Kelly. Kelly participated in NASA's twin study, spending nearly a year in space while his identical twin Mark stayed on Earth. When scientists analyzed their genes afterward, they found something extraordinary. Scott's gene expression had changed by 7%. Same DNA, different activation patterns. The environment had literally rewritten how his genes function. If extreme conditions can alter gene expression that dramatically, then strategic behavioral conditioning can do the same. This is epigenetics, the science of turning genes on and off through environmental factors. You might not have our S for 950, but you can potentially activate dormant leadership-related genes through specific protocols: chronic exposure to leadership situations, deliberate stress inoculation, strategic social positioning, and neurochemical optimization through lifestyle factors. Ancient Spartan society understood this instinctively. They took boys at age 7 and subjected them to the agoge, brutal training designed to forge warriors regardless of birth traits. They were hacking epigenetics before the word existed. The system worked because repeated exposure to command situations forces your brain to build the neural infrastructure for leadership, whether your genes wanted to cooperate or not. Law 28 from the 48 Laws of Power: enter action with boldness. This isn't just motivational nonsense, it's a genetic activation protocol. Bold action triggers the same neurochemical cascades as natural leadership: elevated dopamine, reduced amygdala sensitivity, increased prefrontal cortex activity. Do it enough times, and you're literally training your brain to function like someone who has the leader gene. Your third power move: create a 90-day leadership immersion protocol. Take charge of progressively larger responsibilities, make high-stakes decisions daily, expose yourself to social dominant situations systematically. Document your stress levels and decision quality weekly. You're not building confidence, you're forcing epigenetic adaptation. Your genes will resist initially, but sustained pressure breaks biological resistance. The pharmaceutical industry has already started developing compounds that enhance leadership-associated neurotransmitter activity. These aren't on the market yet, but underground biohacking communities are experimenting with combinations of nootropics that mimic the neurochemical profile of genetic leaders. The future of power isn't just genetic, it's engineered. Write override in the comments if you're ready to force your biology to comply with your ambition. Like this video and subscribe, because the final part exposes the ultimate truth about who really controls the genetic game. Why evolution might be creating a new species of leaders right now. We might be witnessing human speciation in real time, and nobody's talking about it. As leadership-associated genes concentrate in power-holding populations through assortative mating, successful people partnering with other successful people, we're creating a genetic divergence that could split humanity into distinct categories within a few generations. Silicon Valley is the laboratory. Tech billionaires are partnering with other high achievers at unprecedented rates. Their children inherit optimized genetic packages, leadership variants, intelligence genes, even longevity markers. Meanwhile, the rest of the population shows increasing genetic dilution of these traits. We're not just creating wealth inequality, we're engineering biological inequality. Chinese researchers shocked the world in 2018 by creating the first gene-edited babies using CRISPR technology. Officially, they edited for disease resistance. But several geneticists noted that the targeted region was suspiciously close to genes associated with cognitive enhancement and stress resilience, exactly the traits you'd want in a leader. The scientist was jailed, the project condemned. But do you really believe nobody else continued that research in secret? There are rumors, unconfirmed but persistent, of elite fertility clinics offering optimization packages for embryos. They can't advertise genetic enhancement legally, but they can screen for health markers that happen to correlate with leadership traits. It's eugenics with better marketing and plausible deniability. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World in 1932, describing a society where humans are genetically engineered into leadership and worker castes. Everyone dismissed it as dystopian fiction. But Huxley wasn't writing fiction, he was writing prophecy. His brother Julian was a prominent eugenicist who discussed genetic stratification openly. Aldous knew what the elite were planning because he was adjacent to those conversations. Your fourth and final power move. Position yourself as indispensable to genetic leaders. If you can't be born into the ruling class, become so valuable that they need you in their inner circle. Your children will then have proximity to the concentrated gene pool, increasing the probability of advantageous unions. This is how social mobility has always actually worked, not through merit alone, but through strategic genetic positioning across generations. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. This isn't just about job security, it's about genetic strategy. Make yourself essential to those with superior genetic endowments, and you create opportunities for your lineage that transcend your personal limitations. The leader gene exists. Some have it, most don't. But the game isn't over, it's just being played on a longer timeline than you realized. Type evolution in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to understand what's really happening. The genetic game has already started, and most people don't even know they're playing.